Hey guys, today we're going to be installing the harness bar from Z1 Motorsports. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop these covers off from the seatbelt mount. We'll pop these off with a flat blade on both sides, and then I'll show you those holes that I was talking about that it mounts into on the chassis. We got one right here and one right here. The only thing you have to do is you have to cut this mat. Alright, so once you pop those covers off, you'll be left with these 14mm bolts. All the bolts for this install are 14mm, so it's very simple. For these ones, it will be 40 foot-pounds, and for the ones that you will be installing in the trunk, those will be 20 foot-pounds. Okay. Alright, so once you get these busted loose, they should have a little retention washer on there, so it will hold it all together. But you will have to take it apart when you go to install the harness bar, because it comes with new washers or new spacers that you need to replace. But in the meantime, once you get this bolt out, you see this little retaining washer. You can just let it drop, but we will need to take it apart later so that we can level this out to pre-fit it and cut the mat below, and then we can bolt it in after we get done with the cuts of the mat, and we'll unbolt it to finish cutting the mat, and then we'll re-bolt it to finish the install and lock it down. Also, I forgot to mention, you will be reusing the OEM seatbelt mount when you do this install. They are quite snug at first, so I do recommend you use a adjustable, or not an adjustable, but a breaker bar first, and then you can do the ratchet to make it quicker. So now that I got both of these undone, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart. And then I'm just going to line this up with the harness bar, tighten it down a little bit so that I can make the cuts to the carpet. Alright guys, I've managed to get this in. I made the cuts on the back. Now I have to pull it out so I can make the final cut, and then I'll put it back in after I get all the materials together. Alright, so I just got all of that complete. Next step is to take your spacers, right, and get this back in. This order is very important, so make sure that you don't mess it up. Alright, so you're going to take your bolt, put the bolt into the seatbelt into the harness bar, then the spacer, and back into the car. There, now I can start tightening it down. Start putting it in there. Strip this, because you don't want to do that for sure. Just get it started for now. You don't want to tighten it all the way down. Move on to the other side and do the same thing. Alright, so just like the other side, bolt into the seatbelt, bolt through the harness bar, work this on the other side. I'm beginning to understand why they say don't tell you to put that retention on there, because it is tough to even get this spacer in there once that you got the other side on. Put the spacer behind first and make life a lot easier. I guess this little thing isn't really necessary. Gets in the way. Alright, and then once you get those put in, the next step is to come into the back of the trunk with your bolts and washers here, and then you will lift the flap and install the washer and bolt. Alright, let's see. Lift so you can get this flap up. It should line up right there with the bolt hole. I did a pretty awful cut, I would say. Maybe the carpet's just punched up. Put the bolt on the washer like so, and then bolt it in over the hole. So we're just going to loosely get that set in there. We don't want to tighten everything all the way down, so that we can adjust everything shortly. Alright, and then when you're done, you should have something that looks like that. You just pull the flat back and you look. We're going to tighten this down to 20 foot-pounds and that down to 40 foot-pounds, and then we'll put those covers back on. Tighten that down. Alright, there's 40 foot-pounds on this side. Let's go to the passenger side. Pounds. And then lastly, 20 foot-pounds. Oh, it's 20 right there. Switch sides. Take this cover off. There we go, that's 20. Let's double check. That's 20 foot-pounds right there. Lastly, you just cover those up. And just like that, Z1 harness bar is Nissan with a Nissan sign off.